got a message saying there's an update to the JBL Flip 4. I'm a bit nervous because it's JBL. Normally they can tend to brick your speaker. Can you please try to brick your own speaker before I try to brick mine? Basically they said, can you tell us what going from firmware 3.9 to firmware 4 on the Flip 4 does? Now, I'm sorry you are, I can't find your messages again. However, I am doing this video in response because I need to update my own speakers. Did it brick my Flip 4s? So, I had a look at what it said to explain in great detail what exactly they're going to be updating. And they are going to fix some bugs. So that was brilliant. That's told me everything I need to know, because I often sit there listening to my Flip 4 and thinking, I've got a lot of bugs on this speaker. I need to get a firmware update. So I did get a firmware update. What I did was I measured before and after frequency response on my red Flip 4. Then I recorded before and after on some actual tracks. And that is what I'm presenting to you as the difference between the updates. So, frequency responses for my red Flip 4. Let's have a look what we can expect.
73% before firmware update, 73% after firmware update. There it's looking like about half a decibel quieter, although the bass shows a slight dip before. Overall, I would say from that, after firmware update, slightly quieter at 73% volume. Maximum volume before the update, maximum volume after the update. Within margin of error, I would say now, if anything, teeny bit off before the update. Overall, I would say within margin of error, but suggesting the changes are slightly worse, going by the 73% volume after firmware update.
So yeah, not entirely conclusive, but suggesting something may change, hopefully for the better, when I do the update. I did the update. Of course, I couldn't measure the frequency response after without having already done the update. I hope you understand. And these are my before and after audio recordings.
Hanging by your phone, do I even know you? And I get paranoid sometimes, 'cause I know that you ain't mine, and I'm lost without you. You still be the one I talk to when I'm sad. Can't you see now tainted love is all we had? Our issues run so deep, now when I try to sleep, I feel so bad. I should leave, and by the time it's done, I'll be gone. I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare, 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me.
Flip 4, firmware 3.9 before, firmware 4 after update. No matter how you measure it, RMS, LUFS, it's louder before the firmware update than after the update by about half a decibel, even in the bass. The bass peak, minus 27.1 after, minus 26.7 before, nearly half a decibel louder before the update. Maximum volume before, after. It's the same story. However you measure it, louder before, not just louder. Again, it's louder in the bass, not just perceived volume and power throughout the track. So 3 out of 4 of my tests are saying it was louder before the update.
So at this point, I'm confidently sitting there thinking, right, I'm going to tell these people it's going to change the Flip 4, and it's possibly, on my experience, going to make it quieter. Not something you want. Maybe hold back on that update. Now, I do have 2 Flip 4s, so I updated my second one just to confirm. Scientific method, of course, requiring results to be repeatable. So I repeated my my testing, and blow me, this is what I got.
My TL version, before update 73%, after update 73%, that is identical. Maximum volume, before update, after update, that is identical. I would say for my TL version, no change on my frequency response measurements.
So I'm scratching my head. What is going on? Difference on one, identical on the other one. And then, of course, I realised there's a bloke called Alan Ross. He did a speaker review on the Flip 5. 3 different versions, all sounded exactly different. Now, I do have a red GG version and a black TL version, I believe. Of course, how do you know? It's the serial number. If I look on the flap and look for the serial number, that's my TL version. TL's, from what I'm reading, tend to seem to be the better version. Certainly the better version of my 2. My red one is a GG version. So it's looking like your update will change depending on what version you've got. So worse on my GG version, identical on my Flip 4. I'm wondering, are the bugs different on different versions? But as I said, measure quite. I didn't even realise till I did this this video how different these speakers actually sound. So this is the measurements, TL versus GG.
So my black TL version Flip 4 and my red GG version Flip 4 are quite different. Is this why the measurements are different? Certainly the frequency response is very different on these 2 versions. As you can see, the TL version is considerably louder, and it's louder throughout the frequency range. Not just louder, doesn't have the dip that my red version has, around 11,000 hertz. So is that the clue why such mixed results in JBL firmware updates?
So yeah, measure very different. The models are very different. The firmware seem to affect them differently. JBL, I mean, why do they do this? On every model, on every speaker, they have different versions of the same speaker. You can't just buy a Flip 4, a Flip 5, a Charge 4. You've got to know the actual version. If you go on their support and say, what do all these different versions mean? Oh, well, it's just the geographical area, mate. Well, we know it isn't, because wherever you live, you'll get different versions. We know those versions sound different. And we know TL seems to be generally the better sounding. But, of course, that's going to be subjective. But that's been my experience. I don't know if that would be the same thing down the line. So, problem with JBL, different versions, different numbers, and will affect your speaker in different ways and have a tendency to brick speakers as well. That's why we love JBL so much. So, hope you got something out of my JBL Flip 4 firmware 3.9 to Flip to firmware 4 update. Yeah, the Flip probably quite well named. Oh, Flip, I don't know, but that's my experience. Thank you for watching.